A common assumption in basketball circles is that a 1990s guard, reliant on the mid-range, would lose effectiveness in an era optimized for three-point volume. Today's game is built on speed, wide open space, and continuous perimeter movement. The shift in offensive strategy is massive. In 2010, teams averaged 18 three-point attempts per game. By 2025, that volume has nearly doubled to 37.6 attempts. This chart shows the exponential upward curve of those team three-point attempts, illustrating the rapid abandonment of the old offensive geometry. However, Michael Jordan's historical profile suggests he would thrive here. His physical attributes align with the most valuable modern archetype, the elite two-way slashing wing. Our 15-year projection maps his trajectory from 2010 through 2025, charting how his physical gifts translate to a league with cleaner spacing and fewer obstacles. The explosion of three-point shooting actually creates an ideal environment for his playstyle. By pulling defenders to the perimeter, the modern game empties the paint, making him a nightmare matchup for today's defenses. To equalize the differences in pace between the 1990s and the 2020s, we use the per-36 statistical adjustment. This metric standardizes production by calculating what a player would average over a standard 36-minute window. This table shows Jordan's converted baseline metrics. On a standard 36-minute basis, he averaged 28.3 points, 5.8 rebounds, 5.0 assists, and 2.2 steals. When placed against stars like Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo, his scoring baselines remain in the highest tier. The closest contemporary parallel is the 2024-25 MVP season, his nearest statistical neighbor. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander serves as the modern proof of concept for this specific archetype. His 2025 MVP campaign, averaging 32.7 points on nearly 52% shooting, proves that an elite mid-range scorer who excels at drawing fouls can still dominate the league. The data shows that the 1990s shot diet is not inefficient by modern standards. Rather, in today's spacing, those same mechanics generate MVP-caliber efficiency. Jordan's success in the modern era relies on two physical constants: an elite first step and body control that allows him to finish through contact. Slashing to the rim requires the ability to adjust mid-air while maintaining the strength to absorb collisions from help defenders. Modern defenses rely heavily on switching logic to stay in front of the ball. This tactic plays directly into Jordan's hands. This floor map shows how a standard perimeter screen forces a switch. Jordan's postgame is designed to isolate and punish the smaller perimeter defenders he would draw in these situations. The removal of legal hand-checking gives him a cleaner runway to the rim. Without a defender's arm steering his drive, his ability to reach the basket and draw fouls would likely reach career-high levels. He becomes a composite of the league's best traits: Gilgeous-Alexander's rim pressure, Kobe Bryant's shot diet, prime Dwayne Wade's downhill gravity, and Kawhi Leonard's wing defense. Modern defenses would lack the structural tools, like legal hand-checking and the packed defensive paints of the 1990s, to physically disrupt his rhythm. The largest variable in this projection is the impact of sports science. Modern interventions create what we call a biomechanical multiplier for aging athletes. This kinematic model shows the specific stress zones of a high-usage wing, focusing on the repetitive impact on the ankles and knees. Modern methods like load management and recovery protocols turn these high-risk nodes into manageable recovery points, extending a player's career window. By slightly reducing his per-game minute load, the model predicts his offensive efficiency would climb, as he would enter each possession with more physical energy. Preserving that energy leads to late-career explosiveness and more consistent mechanics on pull-up three-pointers, which require significant leg strength. This stands in stark contrast to the 1990s, where the constant physical toll of the hand-check era significantly accelerated the athletic decline of superstar wings. Sports science effectively flattens the aging curve, projecting a longer prime window that stays efficient well into his late 30s. Our 15-year simulation begins by placing Jordan in the 2010-2011 season. This graph shows his scoring trajectory, starting with 30.8 points per game, making him an immediate top 3 MVP candidate. On the other end, his value remains constant, a perennial all-defensive first-team lock. As the league shifts towards extreme spacing, Jordan's scoring volume climbs, breaking the 32 points per game threshold. His modern scoring peak occurs in 2016-17, yielding 32.9 points per game and an MVP-caliber performance. He would operate as the league's premier half-court closer, using the increased room in the mid-post to eliminate modern help-side rotations. The data suggest that an era built for three-point shooting serves as the ideal catalyst for Jordan's two-point scoring efficiency. Beginning in 2018, the projection accounts for the physical decline associated with a player's late 30s. As the line graph indicates, the decay in scoring is remarkably slow. His projection remains at an elite level relative to the rest of the league. The 2019-20 bubble environment would suit his mentality, as its isolation-heavy style and slower pace would favor an experienced shot creator. By the 2020s, the league is dominated by a new class of heliocentric big men who orchestrate entire offenses. Centers like Nikola Jokic represent the new standard of modern competition. Even against this new wave of talent, the model shows Jordan's preserved physical burst in shot mapping keep him at roughly 30 points per game, maintaining his status as a top 5 player through 2025. Supported by modern recovery science, his late career years still produce all-NBA first-team value. The 15-year simulation indicates that Michael Jordan would do more than just adjust to the modern NBA. He provides a combination of high-volume scoring and elite perimeter defense that few modern stars can replicate simultaneously. This portrait of Kawhi Leonard illustrates the physical standard for the elite modern two-way wing. Our model concludes with peak projection metrics of 32 to 34 points, 5 to 7 assists, and 2 steals per game. This bar chart shows the predicted rise in his three-point volume, with Jordan likely stabilizing between 3.5 and 5.5 attempts per game to match modern spacing requirements. The projected accolades for this run include multiple scoring titles, continuous all-defensive honors, and a decade spent as a top 3 MVP candidate. In an era defined by pace and space, the statistical model shows Michael Jordan as a top 3 player for 15 consecutive years, leveraging modern spacing and sports science to maintain his peak well into the 2020s.